I guess in terms of lectures and knowing what you need to know and knowing how to study and focus your attention, one thing that I found not all of my lecturers but a select few did do was present us with learning objectives at the beginning of each lecture. And I found that was super helpful in being able to focus your attention and to know after doing your lecture, doing your tutorial and doing your readings that this is the content that I need to be aware of, this is what I have to know. So by making that explicit at the beginning, I think that really helped focus that attention and help improve your time management by knowing what to focus on. And a second thing that I found some lecturers did was actually pair us up during lectures and make us engage in a conversation and actually think about the content and use that content in a lecture rather than just sitting there passively absorbing information. We would actually have to discuss concepts and throw ideas out to the lecture theatre that we'd then discuss, and I think that was another way you'd remember in an exam, oh, this is the thing we talked about in week 3, and so-and-so came up with this example. And by engaging with that content on a deeper level, I felt that was really helpful. One final thing that I found was really useful was giving practice questions. So at the end of a lecture, there might be a sample question on the content to know what you should understand and what you should cover, and it gave you a kind of gauge of the level of knowledge that you should have.
So one thing I found helpful in lectures was when the lecturer actually left blank spots in their slides. So then it was up to you to go to the lecture and be listening out for that fact and write it down yourself.
One thing I found helpful was when lecturers would give real-world examples about the kinds of things we were learning about. So an example of that, one of our lecturers is really involved with children with additional needs. So when we did those subjects, she was really good at giving you examples of things that they're often quite emotional as well, which I think, in our degree, you're definitely doing it for the passion and things like that. Yeah, they're really good.
So I've had some really successful tutorials and I've had some not so useful ones. The ones that I've found to be most useful, we tend to have some time dedicated to going over the content, just what we've covered, just to reiterate it and highlight any weak points. But those that I find help the most are really discussion-based, that we can throw ideas together and discuss the topics. Sometimes breaking into small groups and conducting group activities, being able to engage in it in small groups or to discuss it helps you to realise what you do know and what you don't know. And those tutorials where you can sort of actually relate the concept to something practically is often useful as well, because learning a new theory sometimes can seem a little bit abstract, but being able to make that a concrete example or engage with that through an experiment or a discussion can often help clear it up. So I think in terms of tutors, just getting people involved, getting students to talk and to engage with one another, which can be a difficult task because we're all a little bit nervous and shy, but by the end of it you sort of feel like a really close-knit and cohesive group.
I think group work is crucial. That helps a lot, just to meet new people and staying in the same groups as well. And if you are sitting with someone, don't break them apart. I think that if you have one person that then that's a really good thing coming into uni, especially because everyone branches off into their different degrees. So you might have friends at uni, but you're not in classes with them. Just doing icebreakers as well, the start one. That's always a good thing. In tutorials, questioning each other and giving questions that you have to discuss between other people, because then you learn off each other. And the way that it's taught in the lecture or described in the lecture might not be the same way that you interpret it. So if someone else explains it to you in pretty layman's terms, because that's, as students, we all know that kind of terminology. When they describe it to you like that, I think that makes it a whole lot easier, and also it might just be that one step that makes you understand what it is.